Soon the rest of the strings join in, and at last it looks as though the radiant G major chord from the opening will return. Solo violin and viola spread upwards, outlining the G major chord. The accompaniment in the main orchestra adds even more hope. It's a similar figure, but played tremolando, the bows quivering across the strings. Cellos and basses add resonant pizzicatos. We're surely on the right track now. What happens first, though, is that Tallis's tune itself returns, sung sadly by a solo violin, with a wonderful rhythmically free counterpoint on solo viola. Old English church music and improvisatory folk song are combined. The vision, for a few moments more, waits in the wings. As the harmonies twist and turn, we can't help wonder whether that first chord and its radiant G major will ever be recaptured. But suddenly, Vaughan Williams deftly brings the music back into G. Violins soar quietly upwards one more time, reaching towards that chord. Now the strings fan outwards one last time, and this time it seems to work. That widely spread G major chord is heard again at last. The music finally reaches its longed-for destination, a warm G major chord, openly spaced, just as at the very start. But that's not quite the whole story. As soon as we hear the G major chord again, violas, cellos and basses cloud the vision by repeating their notes with growing intensity. The searching isn't over. The vision lies just beyond our grasp. So near, and yet so far. We know that transcendent vision is possible. We've heard it, but for less than a second. We've glimpsed it, but out of the corner of our eye. When we try to focus on it, it's gone. If I'm reading this correctly, then the music reflects something of the complexity of Vaughan Williams's own attitude to transcendent things. As a composer, he was drawn throughout his life to religious, mystical texts. One of his most important achievements was his operatic adaptation of John Bunyan's famous Christian allegory, The Pilgrim's Progress. But though he sensed some kind of spiritual truth in these Christian writings, Vaughan Williams never called himself a Christian or any other kind of religious believer. A close friend once described him as the Christian agnostic. The possibility of faith and the unanswerable realities of doubt coexisted, as I think they do in the Tallis Fantasia. We've glimpsed something primal, pure, spiritual, and we've almost grasped it, but not quite. That, too, is a very modern attitude. Maybe this explains the strangely mixed emotional quality of the ending, too. Vaughan Williams could easily have finished with that original ethereal G major chord. That's what Charles Ives does in his Unanswered Question. It would have made a very beautiful conclusion. But instead, something else happens. The solo violin rises sadly, regretfully perhaps. Finally, the full strings make a marvellously warm, sonorous cadence in G major. Warm that may be, but it's a very different kind of G major chord from that pure, ethereal sound from the opening. It's full of double, triple, and even quadruple stopped chords, the bows sweeping across the strings to make as rich a sound as possible. It's a striving sound, a human sound. Perhaps after all its searching, the Tallis Fantasia has found faith in something. Not God, but the spirit of humankind.